Hey everybody, welcome back. All right, and so tonight what we got here is I've made a puck here out of coffee grounds and wax. And what I want to do is, because I've seen these used as fire starters, but I really like these solid fuel stoves because, you know, you have a base so that you have something to cook on. But the problem is that solid fuel tablets only last so long. So what I'm trying to do is see if I can come up with a way to improve on the solid fuel tablets by making my own out of stuff that I use all the time anyway. So we're going to try using here with some solid fuel. Knife here, we're going to try to, when I made this, I did put a cotton ball in here so that we have something to hopefully use as a wick. Next time I may actually just put like wicks in there of like jute twine. I think it might be a little bit better. So we're going to try and get this kind of exposed there, the cotton ball. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, this is one of our fuel starters that came in our Swiss Tech kit there, the loader and kit, and we're going to kind of use a fuel starter to try and get this to go a little bit faster there. We're going to use half of one. So you need to use the whole one. Put that back for later. Expose that cotton there real good. Let's see if we can't get this to light with our we're going to put that down in there next to the exposed fibers. See if we can't get that. That's using the spark wheel that came with it. I might have to float this out just a little bit more. That's all right. Nice little fluff going on there. There's an arrow on here, tells you which way to spark it, thank goodness. Problem with the spark wheel is it's very kind of difficult to hold, but we did get a light there. Let's see if we can get it, keep it going. All right. We'll see if we can get that to go there. Hopefully. Then we'll see. We want to see how long this thing will burn. I got a canteen with some water. We're going to try to heat up some water on it. And I got a little pack of cocoa there. First, we got to get it to go. As you can see, that the puck is starting to catch a little bit. I don't know if you can see that there. But and of course, the other wonderful thing about this is that, let's see, what time are we at right now? We're at almost 5 minutes. So the nice thing about this is that we'll see how long this will last. But another thing is that with this burning here short video there. This way. The thing about this is we've got ourselves a nice contained fire. We're gonna try to boil some water, have a little cocoa, and see just how long. So about 5 minutes when it kicked off. But a good thing about this is that with the coffee grounds burning, it'll keep bugs away. Not there's any bugs right now, but this was the summertime. It does look like it is spreading across the top of the puck there a little bit. There we go. We're starting to get a burn going. I don't know how long one of these things will burn. That's kind of what I want to find out, because a lot of times with these solid fuel stoves, you just don't have the time you need to actually truly boil something. Like if you're trying to make food, I know it's like they put it in the, I bought a, it was a ReadyWise like survival bag, and it had one of those foldable camp stoves in it with like a pack of like 4 or 8. Had like 8 of your solid fuel stoves. Oh, and we are using the Trailblazer canteen that we got too with the cup, the SD cup. But you know, it came with like 8 solid fuel tabs, and then it gives you not even freeze-dried food. It came with dehydrated food. Well, dehydrated food, you got to boil that water something fierce, and I mean, let's be honest. You're trying to boil water, and you essentially have a solid fuel stove. It's not going to work. Now, and again, so it's like, well, you know, you got to come with something that's going to burn a lot longer. And this is actually a pretty small burn too, so I don't know how well this is going to work, but it's an experiment. But it does seem to be holding on pretty good. It's a pretty solid flame, that's for sure. Let's see here. It's putting on a little bit of heat. Let's see if the cup goes on, smothers it. No, the cup does not smother it. Alright, so the first test, we're going to see if we can boil some water out of our Trailblazer canteen, military style canteen here. I put about enough to make a cup of cocoa. And now we shall see if, and you can see that it's definitely getting it there. Put it on there. And there's holes in the side of the solid fuel stove, so hopefully it does not smother it, because you're getting some air in there. But we just got it setting on the edge there. And we're going to see if we can boil it. May take a while. I may have to re-look at my. Oh, it looks like it might be starting to. That might be starting to start helping it spread a little bit. Let me give you a better visual here. So as you can see, got our canteen cup. Our puck's burning in there. And so, setting on the edge there, so we can get fuel, the oxygen. then hopefully that water will start to boil. Again, this is an experiment. We don't know how well this is going to work actually. But as you can see, we're definitely getting a burn up the side of it. And it is starting to spread out. Thing is, if this will boil water and it's going to burn this slow and this long, this is a good option. We're at 5 minutes right now, and I mean, it's still looking good. So that's what I was after. I was after something that would actually boil the water, heat long enough so that we could actually do something with it. Because the biggest problem with most of these things is that it never lasts long enough to boil any water, not significantly. And so that's what we're looking for here. And I can see bubbles forming in the bottom, and you can see the movement of the water as it is starting to boil. So if we get a rolling boiling here, we'll be good to go. I do have the good old foldable spoon in here. Boom. And I'll be honest, I'm trying to use stuff. This is pretty cool. You know, this thing slides, right? So it folds down. We got this a couple times in our SHTF boxes. And this slides down, locks in place. That's pretty good. But again, you know, this looks like it is starting to work. But yeah, again, looking for something that will be a long-term burn. That's not twigs, not you know, because if you're in a wet environment, well, you're not gonna be able to find like dry sticks and stuff. So yeah, it's starting to get warm. You know, if you can't find dry fuel, then your only other option is this. So I'm not sure how long this will burn. It looks like it's gonna last a lot longer though. It is boiling. I'm gonna turn the headlamp off so we can just focus on the flame there. But let's put out a little bit of heat, and the fact that it is contained makes it a little bit safer. So you know, you're less likely to start a fire with this. So yeah, there we go. Get that fire burn in there. The fact that it is a slower controlled burn is good because it's going to last longer, and we might get more use out of it. It is putting off enough heat that it's going to keep you warm. If you're like in an enclosed area, now I don't know if I would do this on like the floor of a tent per se. But if you're in like a makeshift shelter, like a lean-to or something, if you got this on a rock, then I think this is a good option here. It's going to keep it nice and contained. And I'm just going to sit straight on the floor. You know, got a nice contained slow burn here. So there we go. The reason I'm angling it that way is I don't want the handles to get too hot because I don't have my gloves. But definitely get some boiling going on in there. That's the only downside to this one, as opposed to a lot of them, is that it doesn't come with a lid for this. So if you have a canteen cover that actually has a lid, it's a lot better, like a whole lot better. But it is definitely heating up. I'm gonna bring you over here so you can see. Hold on a second. Bring you over so you can look at this here. So we're gonna look down in here, and so you can see that the water's getting warm, right? It is starting to boil, and you got a nice good burn in there. So since it's just unscented wax and coffee grounds, there's no harmful toxins going off. And we've been going for 11 minutes already, and we're just barely touching the surface. So this could definitely be a good option for a long-term solid fuel alternative. Again, I just use a tuna can, and I mix the coffee grounds into the wax. I use an emergency candle, so there's nothing bad in there. No perfumes, nothing like that. So it's unscented, and you can start to see the steam coming off of the water there. And we've been going for 12 minutes now, and it is still burning. And the thing is, it's burning at the same rate. It's a nice, solid, long burn. So I think that this might be a good option. And again, you can find this recipe pretty much anywhere online. There's a million YouTube videos out there using using wax and coffee grounds. So I'm not going to make that video because you can look that video up everywhere. Everyone else already made it. So, but I chose to take it a step further. Most of them just use it as like a small fire starter, and I was like, well, shoot, if it's good, if it's a nice slow burn, why not make an actual, solid fuel tablet out of it? I want to make them. I want to try to make them smaller. Possibly use a toilet paper tube, and then let that harden up, and then cut those out, and then just run like a couple strands of jute twine through the whole thing, so I have a wick to strike. But yeah, we're getting a good boil going now. We're about to have some cocoa. And I mean, the fire is just... Now I'm noticing it's just burning where the cotton ball I put in it is, so I may need to address that situation. But again, this is my first try, and again, trying to make, and I have others that I want to try in this one, because I do have the cardboard and wax ones. We'll see how long those ones burn. See if they're a good option too. I have a whole bunch of those already made up, and then I just wrap them in tape to keep the lids on. I use a safety can opener. That way the lids fit back on top of these cans, so they can be reused over and over. There's no sharp edges, and you have like good solid tuna containers. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, that water's pretty warm. That water is hot enough to drink. So we're gonna have a cup of cocoa, And then we'll see how much longer this stuff lasts. You know, if it lasts more than if it keeps burning, you know, and without going out for 30 minutes or more, then I think this is a pretty good option here for long-term camping, right? Like if you're out camping, this is a, look at, I don't know if you can see that. Look at this. Yeah, you can kind of see the steam coming off the spoon. So it's pretty good. So yeah, and then of course the foldable spoon. It's good with any kit. I think we got that in our last SHTF box. That's it. We just have like a nice little stove, nice little mini campfire, some hot cocoa. The cup did get hot, so again, you still got to be careful, but you can see the burn mark on the outside. That'll clean up. And let's see here. Let me try to get close to the camera here. See if we can see. You can see the steam coming off. So some nice hot coffee. We still got a nice little blaze here, keeping us nice and warm. Drink our cocoa and watch this for a little bit longer. Again, I'll cap this video at about 30 minutes or so. But if it burns from 5 minutes until 30, that's a 25-minute burn, and it's still just on the very top. So I don't know how well it'll relight. That'll have to be another experiment, I guess, if you say. And I may just, like, you know, move this somewhere and let it burn out, and then let you guys know how long it lasted. But you know, you got 25 minutes, and you know, you could boil more water on there, so you know you can make yourself a hot drink, and we can put, if you have another container, now you can start cooking your food on there. So you can start boiling water for a freeze-dried meal. Possibly put a skillet on there to cook up some fish or something if you caught it. Maybe, you know, a bird or a squirrel or something. So a lot of options here. I'm actually pretty impressed. It's still going, so not too bad. And you know, you gotta love this Trailblazer canteen. It's a pretty good canteen cup. Reminds me of my days out in the field, where this is what we would cook our food in. You know, we heat up our MREs and we dump it in here so we could eat it sometimes. Use this to make your coffee, your drinks, everything. You shave out of it. Everything out of that cup. I still have my canteen in canteen cup, but the other canteens are not stainless like these ones are. And to be, it's not putting out like a lot of heat, like radiating around it, but it is putting out enough that it's not, you know, you feel a little bit warmer than what it actually is. And it's probably like, I don't know, it's probably like 44 degrees out, 42 degrees out right now. But right next to this, it does feel a little bit warmer. And if you had this in like an enclosed, like a tarp shelter or something, dig a hole or something so you have it like down recessed, this will put out enough heat to keep a small area warm, and it'll burn for a long time. So, and it's not putting out any, the smoke is virtually non-existent because it's just wax and coffee grounds, but no toxic fumes, nothing. It smells good. It smells like coffee. So it's a pretty good cup of cocoa too. Still warm. If it gets too cold, just slap it right back down there. So I'm just saying, if this thing burns for 25 minutes, you know, and you can boil water on it, you got 25 minutes, or at least 25 minutes, then I call that a success. Not too bad. Then you can just use the, I don't know how I'm gonna smother that, to be honest. Didn't think that far ahead, but I was gonna see how long it burned. I didn't think it was gonna burn, you know. I think it was gonna be this successful, to be honest. I am like impressed with this burn time. But, you know, put some bouillon cubes in there. Maybe, you know, if you like catch a small animal, and you know, you cut that sucker up, and then, you know, so you got your game, get some vegetables in there, some bouillon, throw it in your coffee cup, you throw it in your canteen cup here, let that sucker cook away. Boil up some water, you know, saute the meat. Put the water in there, add some bouillon cubes, and then it's gonna taste like whatever the bouillon cube is. So this is a pretty impressive burn here. And it's like barely touching the surface of this sucker. I'll bring you back in for one last little look, and then we'll probably call this a video a wrap. It's a pretty successful experiment, if you ask me. Yeah, we're 26 minutes, so I'll bring you back in here, and as you can see, still burning nicely just in the top right there, barely touching the back. And again, this is the this was that Trailblazer solid fuel stove. I recently sent one to my son. The canteen cup also came from Trailblazer, I believe. And then the spoon came in SHTF. The fire starter stuff I got came with the that load on kit that we got from Walmart. Then of course this light here, this came from Gear Pack, as well as did this. This is that Sherpa lined watch cap we just got just the other day. So, but yeah, you know, you can smell the coffee. You can smell the coffee from the burn. But it's you know, all in all, I think this is a pretty successful test. You know, I wanted something that would burn long enough that you could actually cook on. Because that's the biggest problem with those solid fuel stoves, is that they do not give you enough burn time to actually cook something. You know, you get like 2 of those tablets, and they're burnt up in 10 minutes. And you're lucky if you can get, you know, your first cup of water boiled. But again, when I got that ReadyWise meal, and it came, and that was the cook stove, and you know, and if it would have been like freeze dried meals, cool. But they actually gave you dehydrated food that you have to boil for a while, because you know that rice is not going to soften up. And they gave you solid fuel tablets, like 8 of them. I think there was 8 of them in it. Not enough. You definitely have to come up with something better than that. And something like this might be the trick. Granted, it is something you have to prepare in advance and have with you, which hence that's why you prep. You know, you prep to survive. You prep to stay alive. And this right here is a pretty good, something that you can make in advance, and it'll last a long time. It's not going to go bad, and when you're ready for it, you're good. And if you think about it, you know, the tuna can, well, that's normally, you throw that out as trash. You know, the coffee grounds, well, after you make your coffee, you throw that out, so that's trash. You know, and you should always have candles laying around, so it's all stuff you should have around and just be readily available. All right, I'm gonna wrap the video up with that. Again, I think this is a pretty successful test of the coffee and wax cooking puck for a solid fuel stove. And again, I'm not going to show you how to make it. I'm telling you what I used. You know, I used a tuna can, but I hate living in the city. But the how to actually make it, you can look that up anywhere. So it's pretty simple. All right, till next time, keep prepping.